Well, today I'm going to create some baby bottles that have milk inside them that actually really moves in 1/12 scale. So I'll show you how I did this. It was a lot of fun. So first of all, I started off with these disposable pens, which were absolutely almost perfect for doing this task, although they weren't quite round. They were kind of more like triangle shaped. It would have been probably a little bit better had I got the Bic brand ones rather than these Papermate ones, but you use what you got. At least this time of year, all the back to school supplies are on sale, so I did get them for a really super reasonable price. So I removed the cap ends and then I took the insides out that had the ink in it, and it's just the tubes that I'm using. So I got out my little miter saw. Now, because I was filming myself, I wasn't able to actually film myself cutting it because I was outdoors. But yeah, I just put it inside the miter saw and it cut so easily it wasn't even funny. So these are the pieces that I cut off in order to make these little baby bottles. I'd say they're each just a little bit over a centimeter long, and yeah, perfect size. Now I did cut way more than what I actually ended up making at the end, and I'll show you why. So I just got the hot glue gun out and some parchment paper, and parchment paper is the ticket because the hot glue peels off of it really super easily. So I'm just kind of organizing all my little pieces there, and so then you squish some hot glue onto the parchment paper and then go ahead and press the little baby bottle on, and that will provide a perfect seal for most of these. So I'll find that once I've been adding the milk to it, if the milk leaks, then I just discard that baby bottle. So, which is fine with me. That's why I cut so many extra. So out of the ones that I cut, I think I cut 13, and I ended up with 11 that actually work. So two of them I ended up discarding. So there you go. So that's what it looks like when you pull it off the parchment paper. And then, of course, you're going to have to take the trusty scissors and cut off all of the excess as best as you can. So you don't want to go towards the middle. You just want to cut the extra glue that's around the edge, because if you touch what's in the middle, then, of course, you're going to affect the fact that it will no longer be sealed. So, and you can see it takes quite a lot of work just to clean it up. And at the end, you end up having to clean it a little bit more. So, yeah, so it's really important that you clean it at this point as best as you possibly can. So my next step is I've got a dish with, I don't know how much water's in here, quite a bit of water. And then you're only going to add like 2 little drops of white or cream colored paint. In this case, I'm using cream colored paint. And then you take a stir stick and you stir it around, and you can see that it's just got a nice milky look to it, but it is very watery. So you want this to be very watery. You don't want a lot of paint in it. Then I'm using a little pipette to draw it up. And you could use an eyedropper for this too, I suppose. And then you're going to fill each one of these baby bottles half full. So it's no good if you fill it completely up, because then you won't be able to see the milk moving in it. So the whole point is you want it so when the bottle is tilted on its side, that the milk actually flows. So I don't know how long this milk will stay liquid or permanent in this bottle, and or how long it'll take for the water that's inside to dry out. If you're hesitant about doing it with water, you could use mineral spirits because that doesn't evaporate quite as easily, but I'm not really sure how mineral spirits would mix with the acrylic paint. So that's something that I haven't tried. I've just only done it with the water and the paint. And I did make them for a previous video for my club that I belong to, my miniature club. But in that case, I actually used the pipette for the actual bottle base. So now I'm just taking a little bit of hot glue, putting it on parchment paper, and then pressing it onto the top to seal the milk into the bottle. So, and then as soon as I finished, I'm putting them aside, and I've got to repeat that step 11 more times. Do you see the little splash of paint on the left-hand side? That's one of the bottles that wasn't properly sealed when I put the milk in, so of course that one went in the trash. So now I'm just sealing the top, and then once the top is dried, then I peeled the parchment paper off, and now once again I'm cutting off the excess glue. So just going around the edge and cutting and trimming it as neatly as possible. Now, for doing the bottle tops, there's a couple of different ways that a person could do it. Ideally, it would be nice to have a nice round bead that's kind of flat, like a circular bead, and you could glue that onto the top of it. I personally didn't have any beads the right size, so I ended up taking my actual glue sticks and taking an X-Acto knife and or a carpet knife and slicing it up. So here's the glue stick, and then I just took my carpet knife, and then I just sliced them up into little pieces to use as the top of the bottle. Now, that has its pros and cons. You can make it the exact size that you need it to be, which is perfect. However, glue stick is not really a nice surface to paint. So if you were gluing on a bead that looks similar to this, of course it would be done and it would look perfect. So so using the glue stick, yeah, not so sure if that's the best method, but it's what I had. So now I've got some, it's like crazy glue, this P7000. I'm just putting a little tiny drop of this on top of each of the bottles before I put that circular piece of glue stick on. And so I'm just putting, as you can see, just one tiny little drop, and that's it. So I'm going to do that to all 11 baby bottles. And then I'm going to take just a tiny bit of hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue each of those little hot glue chunks onto the top of each bottle. And these here that I'm got on the magnifying lens, those are earring backs. So when you buy a brand new pair of earrings, that's what prevents the little earring back from sliding off of the card. And so I had a package of brand new earrings, and I used all those little tiny clips. So then I've got out some gesso, and the reason why I'm using gesso is because I need something as a base coat, because the acrylic paint is not going to stick to that glue stick. So I'm just going over each of the tops of the baby bottles with gesso to use as an undercoat, and make sure that the paint that I put down is going to stick to it. Now the gesso is a little bit rough, and that's okay. I'll show you how I solved that problem. So after I got each of these painted with some gesso and let it dry, then I came back and I painted the tops of the bottle in the colors that I wanted. So the gesso is very stark white, but that's okay. I guess the whole thing is you'll notice that the texture when painting gesso on stuff is probably less than ideal. So then I went back in, I took some pink paint, I painted the edge of the cap of the baby bottle, and then I went back in with some cream color and I painted the top of the baby bottle a nice cream color. So, and you can see that the bottle is almost finished. I mean, it's all painted up. Now, in order to make this top of the bottle look nice and smooth, I've got Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. So Dimensional Magic is like Mod Podge, but it's like really, really thick. And so when you put on a thick layer of the Mod Podge, it kind of forgives all the sins in the painting process. So it does take 24 hours to dry. And as you can see, when you tilt the bottle on the side, the milk flows, and the dimensional magic kind of created a nice layer over top of the rough paint. And you can see on that one, I still yet have to go back and trim off just a little tiny bit more of the glue stick. But for the most part, they're all done. So, and they don't leak at all and the milk flows in them. I think that's really super cool. It was a lot of fun to create. It really was. So, and it's something different that you don't see every day. I have seen them made out of straws, but this is much better because with the straws, if you squish the baby bottle, which you want to tend to do, then you pop all the fluid out of the bottom of it and then it's ruined. With the pen, they're more permanent, so they should last for years. Well, thank you very much for watching today's video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. It's free to do so. Hit that like button as well, and leave me some comments. All these things help my algorithm and help my channel grow. And once again, everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I want you all to have the best day ever. And a special thank you to all my subscribers for hanging in there and coming back and watching all these videos. I appreciate it more than you know.